You've never voted for this before. It's April 18th, 2024, and these are your headlines. Mark your calendars, because on May 4th, many Texans will have their very first opportunity to elect representatives to the governing boards of their local appraisal districts, making the agencies that assess property values for taxes more accountable to citizens. This is because of a new property tax relief law passed last year and approved by voters statewide in November. It allows for, in counties with a population of 75,000 or more, to elect 3 new members to their county appraisal district board of directors. The 3 elected board members will serve along 5 appointed directors in the county tax assessor collector, who will become an ex officio board member. So right now those members are appointed. Now you're going to have some elected members on those appraisal boards. Directors elected in May will take office on July 1st. They'll serve a term that expires at the end of 2026. And going forward, because this is the first time we've done this, elected appraisal district directors will be on the ballot in November of even-numbered years, and they'll serve staggered 4-year terms. The 5 directors appointed by local taxing units participating in the appraisal district, those are counties, cities, school districts, will also transition to staggered 4-year terms starting in 2025. Now, in addition to adding elected appraisal district directors in the state's 50 largest counties, that's who this would apply to, the new law puts the directors in charge of appointing members to the Appraisal Review Board. Maybe you've had experience with these folks. The Appraisal Review Board, that's the group of citizens that hears taxpayer protests and resolves disputes between property owners and appraisal districts. Currently, Appraisal Review Board members are appointed by the county's local administrative judge. At least 2 members of the majority voting for these members must be elected directors. Early voting for appraisal district directors and some of these other local elections across the state starts next week. Election day is Saturday, May 4th. As illegal aliens continue to pour across the southern border here into Texas, 3 border county officials are calling for an immediate special session of the Texas legislature to establish a statewide law enforcement agency tasked with fighting border-related crimes. In a letter sent to Governor Greg Abbott, Kinney County Judge John Paul Schuster, County Attorney Brent Smith, and Sheriff Brad Coe asked Governor Abbott to call a legislative session, quote, to allow for the passage of Representative Ryan Guillen's bill, which establishes a new Texas Homeland Security Division. The measure they're talking about is House Bill 7. That was by Representative Ryan Guillen. It would have established a Texas border force tasked with implementing border security measures to address the public safety threats posed by transnational criminal organizations operating within Texas. This isn't unlike House Bill 20 as well by Representative Matt Schaefer that would have created a border task force as well for the state. The letter states that the federal government continually undermines Texas's efforts to secure the southern border, and thus the state legislature needs to do more to keep Texans safe. Where's Kinney County, by the way? Well, it's nestled between Del Rio and Eagle Pass, both of which have legal ports of entry and have faced unprecedented chaos since the border crisis began when President Biden took office in 2021, really. In one instance, a human smuggler linked to a cartel drove through 16 properties while attempting to evade Border Patrol. The property owner suffered an estimated $150,000 in damages. Another incident that occurred in November involved a 17-year-old Honduran national who was responsible for causing a head-on crash that killed himself, 2 Americans, and 5 illegal aliens he was attempting to smuggle into the country. Well, County Attorney Brent Smith is encouraging Texans across the state to reach out to their representatives and ask that they make a similar request to Governor Abbott's office.
They've been called the Texas Kingmakers. They're the biggest political force in the Lone Star State, and most Texans have no idea who they are, what they want, or even that they exist. Hubris, the Texas Kingmakers, a documentary by Texas Scorecard, now streaming on all major platforms.
The appointed Board of Managers of Houston ISD has now signaled the district's intention to move forward with a multi-billion-dollar bond package this November. During its recent board meeting, the board members voted to allow Superintendent Mike Miles and his administration to use district resources that would be refunded to the general fund by future bond proceeds and to begin developing a November 2024 bond package. Now, back in 2012, voters approved a $1.89 billion bond for the district, with projects finally being completed in 2019. That bond was intended to replace and repair 40 schools and ultimately ended up running $200 million over its projected budget, many such cases like that. A 2016 audit found that increased construction costs due to the building boom in Houston led to cost overruns, but there were still other issues like incomplete project assumptions, weak or non-existent policies surrounding budget development, inconsistent bid evaluations, as well as a lack of programmatic specifics, conceptual planning, and overall expectations. Now, while the district hasn't said how much a proposed bond would be, a local paper recently reported that a recent Moody's Investor Service credit opinion said the district expects a package, get this, are you sitting down, between $3.5 and $5 billion. For more of today's stories, go to TexasScorecard.com.